Hello and welcome to Pan College's program and training video. My name is Dorcas Mensa and I am the college's engagement leader. I hope that this video will present you with the information that you need to successfully complete a Pan College's funding proposal. The Pan College's program and fund is designed to enhance the collegiate experience for undergraduate students affiliated with the colleges at the Peterborough campus of Trent University. This program and fund supports the collegiate experience through funding a variety of meaningful events and activities proposed by students, staff, and faculty of the university. Funding is granted when an event meets the criteria outlined in the program and fund guidelines. The Pan Colleges Fund has 7 funding criteria. For funding to be approved, an activity must meet at least 4 of the 7 objectives. The first objective is that the program must seek to build a sense of community within the colleges. To meet this objective, your event may help students feel engaged with your college, promote a sense of community or teamwork. Students will feel that they have a place to call home within the college where they feel accepted and included by their peers. The second objective that the Pan Colleges Fund has is that the event engages students and learn about issues that are connected to scholarly activities. Your event may allow students to take what they are learning within the classroom and apply it outside of the classroom. An example of an event meeting this criteria would be if your event invited a keynote speaker to speak about a topic the students are learning about in their classroom. The third objective is to make connections between curriculum and real-world problems. Through attending your events, students will gain an understanding of how their learning in the classroom affects the greater community. For example, an event meeting this criteria could be students in the forensics department visiting the Kingston Penitentiary for a tour. Our fourth objective is that your event stimulates self-directed discovery. This can be done through events that allow students to reflect on their own journey and gain meaning from their learning at Trent. This could include creating environments where students can discuss and learn about future career opportunities. This objective can also include attempt to introduce students to something new. Our fifth objective for the Pan Colleges funding is that your event promotes active learning or experiential learning for students. Experiential learning can be simply defined as active learning outside of the classroom. This objective would not include students listening to speakers or watching movies on certain topics, but rather include examples of students actively participating in their learning. This can be achieved through mentoring or volunteering. Our sixth objective is that your event fosters collaboration between the Trent colleges and other groups or departments. This could mean that your event is working towards the same goals of the colleges. This can be found on our website at trentu.ca/colleges. Your event may also be a collaborative effort between your group and one of the college offices. And finally, our seventh objective is that your event fosters connections with students and the broader Peterborough community. This can be done through connecting students with learning opportunities and resources outside of the university. This involves bringing in speakers and guests from the Peterborough community. In addition to our 7 funding criteria as previously discussed, your event must also meet the following criteria. Your event must involve students in the planning, implementation, and evaluation of the event. Your event must also achieve the clearly defined and measurable goals that you outlined within your proposal. Your event must relate to the identity of 2 different colleges at Trent and involve students from those colleges as either executives or participants. You can find information about the identity of our colleges at trentu.ca/college. And finally, your event must operate using a funding ratio of not more than $15 per student. For example, if you plan to have 10 students participants, you can only be granted a maximum of $150 in funding. Apart from exceptional circumstances, groups that fail to deliver programming as proposed will receive less favorable consideration on future funding requests. Funds may not be reallocated for a purpose outside of the scope of proposal without approval from the funding committee. In the event that your proposal is approved and funding is granted, a follow-up report must be submitted regarding your event within the 3 months of the program completion date. If your event takes place within the 3 months of the end of the current academic year, the report is due no later than the last day of classes. Unused funds granted from the Pan Colleges Committee must be returned for redistribution in the next cycle of proposals. Groups that fail to submit a follow-up report of their event will receive less favorable consideration on future funding requests. There are some circumstances where funding would not be granted to proposal groups. Last year alone, the Penn Colleges Programming Committee received $73,771 of program funding requests. Out of this amount, $39,989 was granted. The Penn College's funding can be somewhat competitive. That is why it is important that you consider submitting a strong and cohesive proposal to the committee. More than 10% of the Penn College's annual budget will not be granted to a single proposal. The Penn College's fund will also not be granted to a proposal requesting the purchase of furniture, equipment, door prizes, fundraising, or gifts for its participants. If you're interested in providing gifts or prizes, consider visiting your college office and purchasing a college swag or partnering up with a business in the local Peterborough community. Funds may also not be granted to a group that has already received 3 years of funding from the Penn Colleges Committee. A group who has had 3 years of previous funding is welcome to apply to the Penn Colleges Fund again. However, groups who have not received the same amount of funding will be more favored. Now we're going to talk about the process of how to apply for Penn Colleges funding. If funds are available, a call for proposals will be announced to the Trent community. A proposal deadline will be set twice in the fall semester and once in the winter semester. You must submit your funding proposal before these deadlines, which will be mentioned later on in the presentation. Additional submissions received after each deadline may be considered at the next committee meeting only after those that met the deadline have been approved. The funding committee will meet within 2 weeks of the proposal deadline and will announce the decisions as soon as possible. After the funding committee meets, the committee may have extra questions they would like answered before coming to a decision regarding your proposal. Your group will be contacted through the email that you provided on your proposal. As mentioned previously, within the 3 months of your event, you must submit a follow-up report of your event to the Penn Colleges Programming Committee for review. As mentioned previously, the funding dates for the 2017-2018 year is as follows: Friday, October 20th, 2017, Friday, November 17th, 2017, and lastly, Wednesday, January 31st, 2018. What should you include in your proposal? The Penn Colleges Committee has created a proposal template for you and your group to complete. It is available on the college's website under Events and Activities. You will be required to list the name of your program or event, the date, the primary contact, and the purpose of your program, as well as the organizations or group you'll be collaborating with. Keep in mind that for your proposal, while it is a good idea to be brief and to the point, requests for larger amounts of funding generally require a detailed proposal, whereas those for small sums can generally be brief. Other components of your proposals include the general overview, relevance to the colleges, participation, inclusiveness, and risk management. In looking at the inclusiveness section, the Penn Colleges Committee would like you to address how your event creates a barrier-free experience for people with disabilities as well as for those with dietary restrictions. In regards to risk management, please note that all events are run by student groups must go through this process. Another component of your proposal is the budget. In this slide, the Penn Colleges Programming Funding Committee has provided a detailed snapshot of the type of budget that we're expecting from all of our applicants. Here, as you can see, there's a detailed breakdown of the totals of the event. This includes specific expenses such as hospitality, advertising, equipment rental, other sources of funding, possible revenues, and ticket sales. Please make sure to list the breakdown of how much the total program will cost. Each line should have a dollar amount, a name, and a description. On the last page of your proposal is the assessments, additional considerations, and disbursements. A note about disbursements. With regards to student groups, only those that are formally recognized, including the cabinet, TCSA groups, or recognized clubs, may be awarded funds. More informal groups are encouraged to partner up with an established group in order to make their project be feasible. If you have any additional questions in regards to how to effectively complete your funding proposal, please consider attending one of our workshops on Thursday, October 12th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. or Tuesday, October 17th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. happening in Champlain College, room 303. Thank you so much for your time and watching the Parent Colleges program and training. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to Samantha Edgar, our colleges assistants at colleges@trentu.ca, or simply stop by her office in Champlain 206. Thank you and best of luck on your applications.